Vikings versus Lions, GMG pregame show. Good morning, Alhorn. It's Dave. And with me, threatening to strangle me,
Come on, Dave.
is the wonderful, the fantastic, the base ripper, Rooster.
Not like I just played that bass line not 20 minutes ago. Spiro Agnew, what are you doing, Spiro Agnew?
Oh, I sat there and I was going to check how far we were into the show because I was thinking we were around the 30-minute mark.
Ryan.
Which we were.
And realized we weren't recording.
Too many of those shroom stouts again.
I wish. Hey, that's legal in Oregon now.
He is kind
What's
of
not?
We have them. Shrooms and small amounts of
Cocaine.
Dude,
cocaine, heroin, and meth.
I don't want to be the one to tell you to lead your everyday life, but Dave Stefano, I don't want you messing with any magical mushrooms at this point. You know what? We're already 2-5. We don't need you on
Right.
shrooms.
Hey, we're going to win them all.
Take two. Here we go. Hey, beautiful set, guys. You sound perfect. Good lead. Drums kicked in. Everything. Can you just do it all over again? Thank you.
Just like you did the last time.
And also with us is the drone master from the frozen north of Fargo, Rhino, the king of the jungle. How you doing, Rhino?
What's up, boys?
That's a good intro.
Doing good. We got a win last week against that god-awful team from Wisconsin that we all hate, so life's
We didn't have to hide behind the chainsaws? Hide behind the chainsaws.
No, we didn't have to head for the cemetery either.
Oh,
Never going to end. I love it.
Yeah.
no,
Why can't
that,
we just get in the running car?
Yeah, they're all butthurt up there because they lost the Vikings. They're making excuses about it.
oh, they are.
Mhm.
Oh, it's been fun listening to Score North and some of the other radios and podcasts that, they're upset. But I think it's wonderful. It just warms my
Yeah.
heart.
Shit, I'll take beating them any day of the week.
This is me shedding a tear for all those poor
Back-
disenfranchised fans from Wisconsin that are,
Yep.
crying in their bratwurst from last weekend.
The Vikings attempted to go semi-meltdown there at the end, but they didn't cash it in completely. They tried to
Yep.
lose it, but
DJ won him with his
Wanham
first
did,
game-ending strip sack. He didn't see what I thought was he didn't know. We were all sitting there dreading that last 57 seconds, knowing that we're going to lose it.
because
They're
we all
gonna
knew
come-
Rodgers was going to
Yeah.
drive the field.
He's going to drive the field. They're going to score, kick the extra point, win because they got the 2-point conversion before, and that's it. That's the way the Vikings work. Well, the rookie didn't get the memo, and so when Rodgers dropped back on that last one, he was chasing him, and Rodgers didn't see him, and
and in,
and that was
in
it.
the process, created the greatest Packer meme picture since Anthony Barr took out Rodgers 4 years ago or whatever it was.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers complaining about the officiating. That's rich, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, come on, dude. Nobody's
Yeah,
gotten
dude.
more fucking. Nobody's
yeah,
gotten more calls than you the last 10
He
years.
had it. There was one of his in his interviews, press conferences, whatever it was in the last couple of days. He made some comment about that pass interference penalty that got picked up. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut the hell up, dude. You've gotten more calls go your way in your career than anybody in NFL history. So just go practice chugging a beer and shut up.
It's well said, Rhino.
So, but it was a good game, and the things that were done on the defensive side when corners were dropping out like crazy.
Yeah,
I literally thought it was one of the best. There's two best games that I think of when I think of Zimmer coaching defense. Defense, not head coaching, but defense. One was when he took out New Orleans in the playoffs last year, and he started the NASCAR package where he moved the defensive ends and he changed shit up, and he screwed with Peyton and Drew Brees. That was brilliant. And the second one was last Sunday when he was taking bubble gum and tape and sticking on players to get them to get stops, because the defense actually got better in the second half. And when he was having to think off the fly because he didn't have anybody, and they were down to Harris playing nickel and Adam Thielen volunteering to play corner.
I think Zimmer coached really tentatively that week 1 opener against that team from Wisconsin. I think he was keeping the corners 15 yards off so they don't get beat. I think he was scared in that game.
Yeah,
and
it's very possible.
I think he threw caution to the wind and said, 1 and 5, it. Let's just do that. Let's try this. At least it seemed like that to me. It seemed like the week 1 was really tentative and it didn't look like the same team.
No,
right.
Not
but
at all.
For once though, we actually made adjustments at halftime because that first half, other than that, 30 seconds or whatever, where the Green Bay ran the clock out, there were 4 drives in the first half. Right. Now, granted, Green Bay's were 13 plays and 16 plays, so our defense didn't do squat the first half.
Except for they slowed them and they ate the clock.
Yeah, it was slowed down. But then the second, when it at halftime, and everybody knows on here, I rag on about Zimmer as much as anybody, but I will give him credit for what he did. I'm not going quite to your side of the your side, Dave, where I'm going to start making excuses for the guy, but he coached a good game that second half.
Dave has a huge man crush. Where I thought it helped us a little bit was I thought the team from Wisconsin kind of abandoned the running game too soon. And I was happy with that. They kind of just said, screw it in the third quarter. I didn't expect them to get away from the run as much as they did. It's not like they were terrible at it, but the fact that they were putting themselves in a lot of 2nd and 10s with incomplete passes, I thought they kind of coached that wrong. I would have kept running the ball a little bit more, if I was glad they didn't, but I thought they abandoned the run a little bit too soon, and that fell kind of into our to advantage to the Vikings. I thought.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and with the wind being what it was, it made the passing game difficult. Yeah. I don't know if we would have won if the weather was good, but I'll take those 30 gusts to 50 any day of the week if that generates victories.
And as long as Dalvin can run like he did
yeah, and it was beautiful.
What was he, the third Viking in team history to get 4 touchdowns in a game?
Correct. And it hadn't been done since Ahmad Rashad and Chuck Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
God, I was like 12.
Back when we were kids.
Yeah.
So it was sweet. Now, part of the thing of why he ran so well is our offensive line played the best they have in 8 years. They gave up 0 pressures, 0 sacks, and they were blowing people off the ball. I think Ezra Cleveland had like 5 pancakes credited to him.
I remember Cousins getting sacked. I don't know where you come up with 0 sacks.
No, he had 0 sacks.
No, he got sacked. There was a free rusher because O'Neal.
Right.
Okay, it
wasn't
PFF
the sack wasn't credited against the offensive line.
So. But
he still got sacked regardless.
But on those long runs, like I think it was the screen pass where Dalvin ran for the touchdown, you saw a block from Irv Smith first, then you saw a block from Bradbury.
Bradbury made that play. Bradbury was the king of that play.
He got out in the flat. Awesome game all day. And then the third block was from Ezra Cleveland, and it was 20 or 30 yards downfield. And it's just like, oh, yeah, baby. More of this.
If you notice the replay on that, if you look at it from the end zone shot of Bradbury, after he snapped it, when he went out to block, he made sure he took the correct angle. He didn't, because the way he was going, he wasn't going to get the angle on the guy. He wasn't going to shear him off, but he got his feet set to get the proper blocking angle to do what he did. Absolutely fantastic job by him.
Where has that been?
I don't know.
Well, honestly, I mean,
fundamentally, it was perfect.
The run blocking hasn't really been an issue with our line so much this year. It's been the pass blocking.
For the most part, yes.
When you basically pull the reins in on Cousins and only have him throw 14 times, there's a lot less opportunities for, free rushers to come through, the two Smith boys or whoever,
right?
To get the pressures and stuff. But, I mean.
But the run blocking even looked better. They were exploding out of their stances and driving people back. They haven't been doing that this season. They did it last Sunday.
From the Atlanta game until this week, I saw a lot of improvement in Cleveland. I watched him, specifically watched him a few plays. And like you said, he had like 5 or 6 pancake blocks and, always seemed to be on a guy, and moving him out of the way. So, I mean, if he continues that kind of improvement, we're in good,
He's going to be very good. And pancake blocks, I haven't seen a big number since Jimmy Kleinsaucer used to do it. And it's one of those things that I just love.
That was certainly, I think, the type of offense the Vikings' identity wanted to be all along.
Yes.
For the last 2 seasons. I think that's exactly how they want to go into a game. They want to not only open up holes, they want to take the will out of the defensive linemen, and they just completely walked over them, which you don't see. I mean, part of the problem with the Vikings has been their toughness and grit up front in the trenches.
What a difference, night and day difference it was from week 1.
Look at that game to the Niner game the playoff game, how we got pushed around. We were doing the ones doing the pushing around. The problem with the Vikings is they have that plan and that identity. When it works, you win 28-22, regardless of the team you're playing. But when it doesn't work, you don't have a plan B, and you do have a plan B.
Then Cousins goes out and throws 2 interceptions, and we lose the game 42-20.
You put together that run blocking offensive line with that running back and a dynamic quarterback. Then
we have a top offense.
This is a dangerous offense. Then yes.
Then we have a team that can compete. You have a football team.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you do have a team that can put up 40 points whenever it wants to, even if we don't choose to.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Detroit watched that tape all week. They've seen it on NFL Network, ESPN. Dalvin Cook's been all over the place.
Yeah, it's
player
been
of the game, player of this, player of this. Every highlight reel in the NFL has been Dalvin Cook this week for the performance he put on and the way he ran the football. All the Detroit coaches are looking at that going, that is fucking not going to be us. We're not going to be on the other side of that. I don't care if we have to put 11 in there. He's not going to beat us.
How are they? You got the numbers for this week. How are they against the rush?
Lions defense is 23rd in rush defense. They give up 130 yards a game, which is on the lower end of the NFL. So the numbers are saying that the run game should still be able to shred. But we'll see how much they're gonna put up front, put in the box, and try to stop Dalvin. I mean, Thielen and Jefferson got to be going, this is our game to get us some long passes, right?
Oh, yes.
You'd think.
If they want to crowd the box, the way you're going to make them pay.
All right, if they crowd the box, will they unleash Kirk Cousins? And how has Kirk Cousins done against Detroit?
He's kicked Detroit's ass. He's 4-0. He's 4-0 against Detroit. He's never lost to them, and his numbers are this over 4-game span since he's joined the Vikings. He's 87 for 114. I wish I knew math so I could give you a percentage of what that is, but it's 87 for 114, 997 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in his 4 games against Detroit that he's never lost to. If there's any team Kirk Cousins kicks the nuts off of, it's the Lions. And 2 of those are road games. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you're telling me, fantasy-wise, I should have Kirk Cousins this weekend.
A little game of school knowledge for people out there, throwing out some numbers. We're on a 5-game win streak against Detroit. So let's see if we can keep that going. Like I said, Cousins doesn't seem to ever have a problem with the Lions, so maybe they do stop Cook, and they want to. This would be a good test to see if Cousins can. He should take. You see, a player would take that into consideration. Take that as a chip on their shoulder. If a defense is saying we want you to beat us, that would piss me off and say, all right, I'll beat you, silly.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's somebody like, some low dollar Gardner Minshew or wannabe or something like that, with an offense or a defense coming out and say, okay, we want the quarterback to have to beat us. That's a little more understandable. But when you got the $84 million man going out there and they're Detroit saying, come on, Kirk, come on. Well, you're right. That he should take that as a personal insult and go out and whip the ever-loving snot out of him.
The best part of his game is play action. We all know that. And the play action is going to be there. It's going to be there, especially early before they decide whether they can shut Cook down or not. Mm-hmm. And remember, in Pontiac, or wherever they play now, I don't know where they play anymore.
Ford Field.
He had that beautiful play action pass to Thielen for the touchdown when Thielen screwed up his hamstring. But remember that play was a play action rollout pass. We all know Kirk does that well. That's going to, after what Cook did last week, guys, the play action's going to be there in the first quarter, in the first half. It's going to be
because they're going to be keying on Cook.
Right. Mm-hmm. They got to make them pay. And you got the wide receivers to do it. So you know what? Do it. Don't fail. Do it.
Yep. You got Adam Thielen. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Irv Smith. Irv Smith is becoming the best tight end on the team.
Irv Smith is a hell of a blocker. I mean, that
his blocking is better than Rudolph's right at this point already, and
Rudolph
he can
never
catch
was
the
a great
ball.
Blocker, but
but his blocking got better in the last few years.
Right.
But
Irv isn't as involved in the passing game as we would like him to be. I mean, he's starting to get more in there, but honestly, I consider Irv TE1 on this team right now.
You know who's more involved in the passing game than probably we'd like?
Dave.
Wide receiver 3.
Chad.
Fabergé Egg. Oh. Ted Glover's favorite wide receiver. Chad Beebe.
Hey, we actually threw it to him short of the sticks on third down last week, and he got a first down.
And as
first time in the history of his life, he got a first down with the throw short of the sticks.
And his fellow Gallahorner Flip Muzzy pointed out, another angel lost its wings. Mm-hmm. So, but it's been pointed out that he does get open. He does know how to run, especially that underneath crossing route, and get space. It's just that if you're going to run that, let it please be at least, to the sticks, if not a little bit beyond.
Add another 3 yards to your route, and you're past the first down line. Then you're good.
Here's going to be the problem with Detroit. We haven't got to the defensive side of the ball yet, which we will. Offensively, Vikings have historically, when Cook gets taken out of the game, have had one of those games where they have 40 yards in the first half. They've had 9 3-and-outs. They can't generate anything. It's all sloppy. Everybody looks like they're running in glue. Nothing's going well. They can't do anything when Cook gets taken out of a game. If Cook gets taken out of this game in the first half, let's see if they go into a hole or they can produce something and get. I'm telling you, Detroit can score. They average 25 points a game. They're 15th in pass offense in the league. They could put up numbers. So I want to see if Cook gets taken out of the game, does it just deflate the whole team, or is Cousins going to pick up the pace? Is Cousins going to pick up the pace?
He's going to put out the team on his back and go, all right, Cook was the captain last week.
Right.
He did it. I'm going to be the captain this week and do it.
But historically, we don't usually do that.
Can he do that, though? That's the question. He's been here for 3 years, and that's still the question. Can he do that?
Against the Broncos and against the Saints in the playoffs.
Yeah, two games in 3 years, yeah.
I would be shocked.
It should not be an anomaly. It should,
It should be.
I get so jealous watching all these teams with the franchise quarterbacks that, a Mahomes, a Rodgers, a Brady, or whatever, teams down by 6 with a minute and a half to go. you with a fair amount of confidence, even though you're not a fan of that team, and say Mahomes is going to drive this thing down the field and they're going to win this game. You know, Cousins gets the ball back with a minute and a half. We're down by 4 points, and it's like, well, this was a fun game. On to next week.
It was close. Interesting.
Yeah, we tried.
They had the ball.
Participation ribbons for everybody.
The Tennessee game, they had the last possession in that, couldn't get it done. So
right, yeah, that was the last drive that Zimmer called a disaster, a catastrophe, or whatever the word was that he used. But
I would be shocked if the Detroit Lions came out in their first defensive series and had less than 9 guys in the box. I'm telling you. After what Cook did last week, I'm expecting them to fully load the box. So the Vikings' game plan should be right off the bat, make them pay.
Yeah,
that's how
Kirk Cousins comes to the line, he sees a full box, it's play action.
First play needs to be a play action and hit Jefferson deep on a fly route or something, and just 7 points right off the bat.
You want to loosen up a defense, hit them with a big play. That'll get them off.
Yep.
Then hopefully open up for Cook. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen if Cook does get taken. I mean, not completely taken out of the game, but just slowed down. If we can still pick up the pace and move the ball, because historically we haven't been able to do that.
Right.
So I do too. Now, have you got any other numbers? You're talking, what does their defense look like if, how are they against the run you've already said the run, but against the pass if we start doing that?
They're worse than we are against the pass. They're 30th in the league.
Wow.
Oh, wait.
How are they at pass rushing?
I'm sorry. No, that was the Vikings were 30th. They're 19th. The Lions are 19th against the pass, and they're 23rd against the rush. Okay. So they're
what are they
about mid-row. Overall, defensively, they're 22nd in the league. So you can move the ball against them, and teams have up till now. They give up 30 points a week. That's what they're averaging, 29.4 to be exact. But
how many sacks have they had? Why I'm asking is because Everson Griffin is coming back to face us for the first time.
Yeah.
Watch him get 3 sacks or something.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, he's had a sack and a half all season. He'll have 3 against us. Yeah.
They have 10 sacks all season as a team, which is extremely low.
Okay. Because Everson's going against Riley Reef, and they've been going against each other for years. That's going to be an interesting matchup just to focus in on and watch to see, because Reef's having his best season, and Everson with only a sack and a half obviously is not.
Right, and it's going to be interesting to see if Everson comes in with a little bit of a chip, or if he's, or if he is washed. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know.
Well, and he just got traded there, so he hasn't been with the team very long.
Yeah, because he wasn't eligible to play last week. I don't think this is his first game, isn't it?
I think so.
They have some problems injury-wise, the Lions.
Flowers is on IR. No,
they don't have a backup middle linebacker if their linebacker gets hurt. Their starting middle linebacker gets hurt.
Looking at their injury report, Desmond Trufant, cornerback, he was limited today. Darryl Roberts, cornerback, he was limited. Christian Jones, linebacker, was limited. Tracy Walker, they have listed DB. Did not practice. So, I mean, you got 4 guys there just on the defense that were at least limited, if not completely out of practice today. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's Wednesday. I mean, if it's still showing that on Friday, it means a lot more than it does now. But
the Golladay injury is huge.
You got Golladay and Matt Stafford.
Potentially Stafford.
Put on COVID IR list right now because in his proximity to somebody who tested positive. He could be like Dantzler last week. Like Dantzler was last week. Where he clears it Sunday morning.
Right, but they said he was high risk close contact. Now I don't know what that means. Does his wife have it or something, or one of his kids maybe? I don't know. It was obviously somebody that he's spent a lot of time around. But now they said the last time he was in contact with that person, I believe, was like Monday. So, what that means, maybe something, maybe nothing. I guess we literally couldn't know until game time if we're going to face Stafford or if we're going to face Chase Daniel.
If they don't have Matt Stafford and Golladay, doesn't that severely diminish what they can do offensively? Those are two big names.
You would think so.
I logically,
Granted,
yes, but this is against
we lost
the
to
Vikings.
Chase Daniel last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to say.
The fact that it's Chase Daniel doesn't sit well with me. You know how that works.
No.
One of those stats that comes up in a month. Chase Daniels won 2 games in his life, both when he came in against Minnesota. I can see that working out already.
And just historically, for some reason or another, the Vikings have always made backup quarterbacks look like perennial all-pros.
And we're hurting at corner, so.
Right.
But the fact that Golladay won't be out there with Marvin Jones has got to help the corners a lot. I mean, because both those guys are pretty good.
Well, and who have we got looking to play corner this week?
Me and you, right?
Still, well, it's close.
It's me and Drew.
And Gladney, which will move to the nickel.
Gladney moved to nickel.
Fuck, I'll play some corner. I don't give a shit.
Because right now Holton Hill did not practice. Mark Fields, who had his lung punctured, obviously.
How long is Holton Hill going to be out? You got who? When is he coming?
I don't know.
Coming back?
It's a foot.
It's a
foot injury. I don't know.
Oh no!
But then Dantzler's did not practice. Harrison Hand was limited. So that's basically 7/8 of our secondary right there.
You have if Dantzler passes concussion protocol, he could play, then you have Chris Boyd, who we thought had the knee injury, but it supposedly turns out to be what I read today, a cramp. He's good. He wasn't on the injury report.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've literally got potentially 3 cornerbacks right now. So if we lose anybody.
And we know Anthony Harris can play nickel because he did at the end of the Packers game.
Right. Now, do we have any more cornerbacks down on the practice squad that we could bring up for the game? I guess I don't even know.
I know I saw today they had somebody coming in, but he was coming in today.
The guy that we claimed off of waivers last week, he had to go through the protocols and stuff, so he wasn't ready for the Green Bay game, but he should be ready for this game.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Bologna Tech?
It was Clemson, I think.
Yeah.
I
didn't recognize the name.
I didn't recognize the name either, but it was a big school.
We have to work some magic. You have to work some magic at that secondary again.
Yes, and that's got to be done. Zimmer did a great job last weekend, but he's got to continue it if we hope to win, other than going into shootouts and outscoring everybody.
I mean, granted it worked last week, but we can't rely on Kendricks covering Devontae Adams every week either. That kind of. Which
Eric Kendricks has got to be the best linebacker in the league.
Kendricks is the best player on our defense. There's not even a question about that.
He's got to be the best linebacker in the league.
What about some of those coverages down by the goal line? Those coverages down by the goal line against the Packers. I mean, that looked too easy. Is somebody missing an assignment there or something? We're out. We're past that game.
Yep.
Detroit, running back.
On to Detroit.
They're going to go to the committee. DeAndre Swift, the Swift cat from Georgia that we all did draft write-ups on, who's an amazing running back. And our old friend, AP.
Adrian, baby.
That's going to be I think it's going to be the even carries for both, back and forth. Maybe one guy that, if he's looking a little better, will get a few more carries, but it's probably going to be the committee run this week. They had another guy, but I think he got hurt. So that's
I think Kerryon Johnson's been out, and
that's the name I was thinking of. Their run game is poor, though, you guys. Very, very, very poor.
Their run game has been poor ever since Barry Sanders left.
29th in the NFL. They don't even hit the 100 mark. They're at 97 yards a game. So
that's
I mean, I think that Kerryon Johnson had a 100-yard rushing game last year, and that's the only one I think they've had in like 5 years.
Yeah, the Vikings.
It's some ungodly number like that. I don't remember the number of games, but I remember watching it when it happened. I forget who they were playing, but they made the big deal about it. That was the first 100-yard rushing game for a Detroit Lions running back in forever.
A long time.
Yeah.
That'll certainly be the game plan, which we had last week in Lambeau. It seemed like Green Bay abandoned that run a little bit early, which I was fine with. But it seemed like the Vikings were pretty successful in shutting that run down. A lot more successful than they were week one.
Mm-hmm.
Shut down the Lions' run, make them beat you by the pass, which is probably the strategy every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I mean, realistically, with it, especially if Stafford's playing, they want to beat people with the pass. They're not a running team; they're a passing team. And it's our old buddy Darrell Bevel's the offensive coordinator over there. So,
but Rhino, the problem will be presented if the Lions start having success running it. The Vikings are in big ass trouble.
Yep.
Because they can move the ball through the air. The Lions.
Right.
So they're expecting to move the ball through the air. If they get the luxury of picking up first downs in 7 yards at a pop running the ball, the Vikings won't win this game, I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless the offense matches and exceeds on scoring drives. Yep. And that may be our key to victory if we're going to win more games this season. The offense.
Right. Adrian Peterson has his AARP card now, but he can, if he can get out in the open field, he can still move. Which is surprising because he's what, 34 now, 35.
He's still productive as a running back. The guy's amazing.
Yep. He's not what he once was, but he's still pretty good.
Cousins. It's going to be interesting how this thing unfolds because Cousins has never lost to Detroit, so he's kind of owned them. He's had some great games against them, but I'm more worried about the defensive side of the ball, giving up quick scores, and like I said, not being able to shut their run down. Man, that's going to be irritating if we can't, because I don't want to hang it on Kirk Cousins to have to win a game. But there's no way. I don't think the Lions just let Cook run through these gaping fucking holes again, like Green Bay was let. That was ridiculous. I don't think they're going to let them.
And that's what we talked earlier.
Part of those gaping holes were because our offensive line played the best they've played.
That's true.
In 8 years. Yeah.
No, that's true. I don't want to take anything away from the line. I'm just saying I think Detroit's strategy has to be that if Cook runs wild like that, they're not going to beat us. So they got to. Right. If you're a defensive coordinator, wouldn't you rather have Cousins beat you? Should have put it in his lap.
My question is, are they going to come out? The Vikings are 0-3 at home this year, which is pathetic. Last weekend, they came out with some fire in their belly. The previous home games, they've come out flat, absolutely flat. Are they going to, because we're back home this time, obviously up at Lambeau Field, they're all pumped up and ready to go. But now that they're back home, are they going to come out flat again, or are they going to take that win from Sunday and use that as momentum and come out, full of piss and vinegar?
It's going to be one way or the other. Either we're going to, be thinking about, we did so well last week, and we're just going to come out and think we're going to roll Detroit and we're going to get our asses handed to us, or they do build off of, I know it's kind of a cop-out answer to saying it's either going to be one or the other, but you never know what you're going to get with this team, especially this year. The last time, we played that game against Seattle, and we had it down to the game one, down to 30 seconds to go in the freaking game, played the best we'd played all year. And then the following week we turned around and we got steamrolled by the winless Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say. I want to say that we're going to come out, when we were looking at the schedule, a couple weeks ago, saying where we could find a win, the rest of the season. Detroit was one of those that we figured we would at least be able to split.
Speaking of the schedule, let's look at that real quick. So far, we have 2 wins. We have Detroit coming up this week, which, if all goes well, will be our 3rd win.
That is one hell of a graphic. Look at that. Look at all the work put into that fucking thing. I love it. Color coordinated with the teams and shit. Yeah. Beautiful.
Dave is a top-rate producer.
Dave, you put in extra time on this. That's why you get paid more big bucks than we do. That's a good question. What Vikings are we going to see? I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I could see them coming out and just having a total letdown and falling behind 14-0, and all of us on the thread going, "What happened to that team I saw last week?" I can easily see that.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's, I did a show last night and they pressed that I did a prediction. And I said, I don't do predictions. And they pressed and pressed and pressed. I said, they should win, right? Everything points to that. But I don't do it because every time I say that, they don't. So,
to be fair, the prediction I made, I had the Vikings score right because I said the Packers are going to beat us like 44-28. So you divide the Packers score in half, you get the 22, and I had the 28 right. So I'm going to count that as a moral victory.
Okay. Hell of a job, Rhino. That's a good prognostication, if that's the right word.
But what do you think? Are they going to come out flat, or have they turned the corner with the attitude and how they're playing, both offensively and defensively? Did they turn that corner last week? Can fans look for a little bit of optimism, or are we discussing draft picks again?
I still don't see this as more than a 5 to 6 win team, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they finally did get their crap together this last week, and they could go on a run, win 4 of the next 6 or whatever it is. I mean, the schedule is a little more favorable. I mean, you got Detroit, which we, I'm not going to say the word, but next week we got Chicago on a Monday night. That doesn't bode well for us. We haven't beaten Aggie yet.
Is it at Chicago? It's at Chicago, isn't it?
It's at Chicago, I believe.
Yeah, so outside on grass at night, prime time.
Monday night.
The Vikings, up to this point in the season, kind of not looking at last week, have played such piss poor football at times. It's hard for me to say anything has turned any corner.
Right.
To be honest, I mean, I need to see more of. I mean, the offensive line that would probably be the area where you might say that wasn't a fluke last week. You know what? The team from Wisconsin totally took us lightly. They come out, their body language was, we're going to have a
looking ahead to San Francisco tomorrow night, yeah.
And the Lions don't have anybody to look forward to. They're going to come out, they're going to come out and fight you from the beginning, I guess, and they don't have that. I think they took us lightly and we rolled them in Lambeau, and I think that was to our advantage. But look at all of the games the Vikings have had this year. The Vikings could. I'm just saying. I'm not. There's no turning the corner yet for me. I've just seen too many problems with this team. Regardless of the 5-1 team we just beating them on the road, doesn't necessarily say turning a corner. But you know what? If they get together and they win a couple more, which would be a 3-game winning streak, revisit that.
Mark it on the tape. Yeah, revisit it. Now,
I'm not saying they're a playoff team. I'm still not saying they're a playoff team. But if they win these next 2 division games, and I think it's on a Monday night, the Bears game.
Yeah. Monday night.
If they beat the Lions and the Bears, at least it tells me they're not quitting and they're trying to figure something out.
Right. And if I want to see the offensive line continue to do what it did last week, because if it does that, that's going to help out a lot. Now
the key there, though, is, Cousins only dropped back to pass 14 times.
Right.
So there was limited opportunity for the defense to get a rush on him. So now if, say, Detroit is able to stop Cook and Cousins has to drop back 25, 30 times, is the line going to play up to that same level that they played last week? That's
and we'll
the big
find out.
Right,
but I'm hoping that's a confidence builder
across
the board.
I don't argue that at all. But it's something that bears watching.
Yeah, it bears watching, especially over those next 3 games. Yes. Right. Are they improving?
Next week with Khalil Mack and all those guys over there. I mean,
that'll be the big test. Mm-hmm. It will. But first, defeat the Kitties.
Yeah, and they could certainly win this game. It just depends on When how many times we had pregame shows before the Lions games? We always say the same thing. It'll be close. Stafford will make a bonehead interception. We'll kick a field goal. Whoever makes the dumbest plays in this game usually loses between the Vikings and Lions. Mm-hmm. And I'm expecting it probably high scoring. Not to say I expect a close nip-tuck game, but maybe high scoring where it's just trading touchdowns back and forth. But these two teams, it usually always comes down to a couple really bad, stupid plays. It does.
Yep.
So I don't think it's going to be
running out of the back of the end zone.
Back of the end zone. I would just
Jared Allen chasing it.
What was that, Dan Orlovsky?
Yeah.
Was that the great Dan Orlovsky? I mean, you got.
Yep. That play ranks right up there with the butt, almost like with the butt fumble and stuff that Sanchez did in New York.
Yep.
But they should. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the run game of Detroit. Like I said, that's the only thing I really worry about is if Detroit starts getting any continuity with their run game and start controlling the ball and using their pass off their run. I think the Vikings are in serious, serious trouble if that happens.
Yeah.
Which is probably the same for the Lions. If they don't control Cook, it falls a lot in our favor.
Yeah.
So the two run games for me will be probably key to the whole thing, pretty much. So,
all right. With that, any last words, Rhino?
I mean, I'm interested to see how the team comes out here. We've seen how they've handled complete and utter failure so far this year. Now let's see how they can handle a little bit of success. Uh-huh. Do they come out sharp? Like we're talking, if Detroit loads the box the first play of the game, is Kubiak going to have the cojones to call a play action and blow it down the field to Jefferson and, open the game up right away to where Detroit's saying, oh, crap, we can't do this because Cousins is on his game today, or, they're going to kill us over the top if we keep stacking the box. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that bears watching. I want to see how the O-line does for the next week in a row. Like I said, they played a great game last week. Let's hope they can keep it up. And I think when it boils down to it, if Stafford plays, I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring game. If it's Daniel, it's probably be a little lower scoring. It's going to be a close game either way. I mean, at the end, 30-24 Vikes, I'm going to go.
Drew, any last words?
Yeah, Viking gal. I'm not going to make a score prediction on this one, even though I think the Vikings eke out a win with a field goal at the end. I think it's going to be that close.
Dan Bailey.
I want to ask you guys something though. With Kenny Golladay being out, and that leaves them with Marvin Harrison on one side. Can either of you guys name the three backups for the Lions? Their wide receiver too. Come on now. I know you got one.
I have no idea. All I know is Galladay's on my fantasy team, and I'm going to swap it out this week.
Well, here
I got Hopkins, and he's limited practice too. Oh, one of them is a former Packer receiver.
Yes, Geronimo Allison.
Yeah.
Spiro Agnew. And Marvin Hall. Those are the three guys. Neither of those guys are Golladay, or they're the talent level of Golladay.
No, Spiro Agnew and Geronimo.
Gotcha. Right. So I think the Vikings. That's not going up against Golladay is huge in this game. I think it's really, really huge. So I think the Vikings got to get
Stafford. Yeah.
If they want to win their season, all these games are playoff games. If they want to win their season,
they're
I'm
at
not saying
point.
Playoff. We'll see
they're
what
at
they
that
got.
point. They got to win.
I think for doing 2 takes for a whole show, we did pretty well.
I think so too. And with that, everybody, we'll see you Saturday morning. And of course, 15 minutes after the game for Good Morning Gallahorn in the Raw.
Are you going to be drunk on In the Raw?
Oh, I'm sure. Why not? It's Sunday. Football.
Does the day end in Y?
Yeah. Why not?
Rhino, next time Dave forgets to hit the record button, I want you to get a square point shovel, and I want you to hit him right in the face with it.
Anyways.
It's always good talking to you guys.
Yep. Everybody, Have a great weekend, and let's go against the Kiddies. Skol Vikings! Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.